Hello Vault Heads, this is the self-proclaimed, sarcastically named Captain KeyForge, also known as PJ Broughton of the Steel City Snufflegators.
Well, here I am back again with another Captain's Commpod. So I'm going to be back to making podcasts and vodcasts and gameplay videos and obviously deck openings when we get them, which will hopefully be pretty soon. Wow, how well has KeyForge bounced back since last year when it was down but not out? Well, FFG told us they were still planning to continue the game. I think they were lying. They were hocking it out. They were trying to sell it. You don't release a game and then say, oh, and by the way, we're trying to sell this game, and if we don't manage to sell it, we're going to kill it. You tell people that it's going to be carrying on, that you're going to bring it back. So I just think they were telling porkies. But good luck to them with their future endeavours, which for now won't be involving KeyForge, because FFG are out and Ghost Galaxy are in. Ghost Galaxy came out of Fantasy Flight Games. The people at Ghost Galaxy now helped set up Fantasy Flight Games in the first place, and they've bought KeyForge from them, and they are going to be taking the game forwards from now on. So Ghost Galaxy are in, and they've been very communicative with the community so far. Lots of articles, lots of news updates, which brings us on to the GameFound crowdfund campaign for Winds of Exchange. So Winds of Exchange is going to be published via a crowdfund campaign, so it's not going out into stores as yet. Ghost Galaxy decided that to show that Winds of Exchange was going to be viable and KeyForge was going to be viable as a game going on, they would run a crowdfund campaign through GameFound. So that's what they did, and that is over now, and they did very well out of it. So they had 6,172 backers in all and raised $1,101,000. That's such a lot. $1,101,183 towards KeyForge decks. And pretty much what I'm going to be talking about today is what that means in terms of how many decks that they're going to have to print. Because, well, it's going to be a lot. So I'm going to start with the Turner of Keys pledge, which was the $750 pledge. Okay. It came with personalized decks. It was the one that had the plush toy, lots of extras. Okay. It also came with 75 decks. So 6 lots of 12, 72 decks, plus 3 customized decks, 75 decks in total you'd be getting with that one. And that doesn't even include stretch goals or add-ons or anything like that. Just 75 straight decks. Okay. And that was backed 162 times. At the close of the campaign, 162 people had backed the $750 pledge. So obviously big KeyForge fans they are. Okay, but I did the maths on that. So 75 decks for 162 different backers, and this one is confirmed because GameFound left the information up on that pledge. That adds up to a total of 12,150 decks for that pledge level, before you have any add-ons or any stretch goals or anything like that. So 162 people have between them purchased 12,150 decks. So that's quite a lot. I mean, that surprised me. So I'll go on to the Breaker of Change next, because we've still got the proper data for this one. The Breaker of Change was a $420 pledge. So this one came with 36 KeyForge decks and 3 personalized decks and 3 personalized mats and 2 mats, and again a fuzzy Gruin, some other things, because of the value of this one. If you pledge this one, you got the next KeyForge Adventure free as a pledge goal, just like the tier above this got KeyForge Adventure as a free pledge goal. So again, not to be sniffed at, possibly too deep for a few of us. I didn't go for this one. My pockets weren't that deep, and especially way. Thank you, Prime Minister Truss. Absolutely killed the pound right before the campaign funded. Pound was at the lowest ever level since 1985 when this funded. Thank you for that. It was a bit much for me, but this was backed 329 times. So 329 different people backed this pledge. So 329 different people, and they're all going to get 39 decks each. Again, before stretch goals, before add-ons. So these numbers are going to increase as we get further and further into this cast. Again, the maths on that, 12,831 decks. So 329 people going for a superior pledge, maybe we'll call it, and they have got between them 12,831 decks. So just the top two pledge levels are almost at 25,000 decks. I didn't add those two together, but that's a lot. Now, I will say this. I tried to get the proper figures. I sent an email to Ghost Galaxy and said, would you be willing to share the backer numbers for each pledge level? And they said they politely declined. I mean, it's sensitive data, to be fair. It's sales information. It's sensitive data. I'm not mad or angry or upset that they said no. I possibly ought to have gone on 5 minutes before it closed and got all the numbers down. So if anybody has those, stick them in the comments, stick them in pictures, whatever. But what I did do, I'd been having a look of it and sort of seeing how many people seem to be going for each pledge. And when I looked at it on the 9th of September, about half of all backers were going for the $150 Reaper pledge, and about 25%-ish of the backers were going for the pledge which had 6 decks with no mats. So 6,172 backers in total. If half of them, which was roughly what it was the last time I bothered to check, if half of them went for the Reaper of Amber pledge, which was the 12 decks plus the personalised deck, that would be 3,086 backers. So I reckon about 3,000 people have gone for the 12 decks plus the one personalised deck. So 13 decks. And if 25% were going for the 6 decks with no mats, that's 1,543 backers who will have gone for 6 decks with no mat. So again, those are some big numbers. That's going to account for about 4,500 of your backers. So they obviously account for an awful lot of decks. So the Reaper pledge was 12 decks. It was one personalised deck. It was 3 stretch goals. So again, there's more to it, but 3,000 backers having 15 decks each. And again, that's not all of the decks that we have in. That accounts for 46,290 decks. So the people who've pledged at $150, I think that they have created at least 45,000 decks. I think that that's going to be 45,000 decks. And the people, the roughly my 1,543 guesstimate for the people who've gone for 6 decks, 9,258 decks they're going to be having. So the highest tier is definitely 12,150 decks plus stretch goals. The second highest tier is 12,931 decks plus stretch goals. Reaper, I'm estimating it roughly at 46,290 decks. There, the 6 decks pledge with no mats, 9,258 decks there. Add all those up together and 80,629 decks in total. I mean, again, that is an estimate. It's not a set in stone number. I haven't got the numbers right on the bottom two of those. They're guesses, but the top two, the numbers are right before stretch goals and add-ons. So yeah, 80,000 decks just from those pledge levels. And again, I haven't included everybody, because that brings me on to my next thing. If you add up all the backers, I'm about 1,000 short. So on my reckoning, about 1,000 backers have gone for either the starter or they've gone for the 6 decks with mats. So yeah, the 80,000 decks also doesn't account for 1,000 backers in the campaign. Now, also as well, it doesn't factor in that each single backer is going to get 3 decks as a stretch goal, because they're going to get 1 of the Saviour of KeyForge decks, and they're also going to get 2 of the Unchained decks as well. So that is 3 decks times 6,000 people. Okay, so the stretch goals are worth 18,516 decks at 3 decks per backer. And I also haven't considered the token decks stretch goal that they were going to give you there. So 80,000 plus 18,000 plus 1,000 backers that I haven't accounted for. And also as well, this doesn't include add-on purchases. Any of you buying add-ons? I have. I've bought a copy of the next KeyForge Adventure as an add-on. I bought 1 more Saviour deck as an add-on. I don't for a minute think that I'm unique in purchasing add-ons. I really don't. So I would put a lot of credence into the likelihood that there are over 100,000 decks that need to be printed as part of this campaign. That would not surprise me at all. I expect that to be the case. I'd love to know what it is actually. Ghost Galaxy will have the number. So I mean, I'd love to know. They're not going to tell anybody, and I get why, and I've got no problem with them not saying that. But yeah, I would absolutely love to know what that number is. I really would. And I'd also like to know sort of how many extras they're going to print towards possibly retail or distribution, or even for their own use at conventions and stuff like that. It'd be very interesting to know how many extra they print besides what was needed for the campaign. And that's going to bring me on to my final thing. So I did ask another question as well when I sent them an email, and it sounds like they've been responding to everybody's emails. I've not heard a single person say they sent them an email and they asked them a question and they didn't get a response. So I really got to applaud Ghost Galaxy's efforts in literally replying to every single email they get. I mean, I don't get me wrong, I don't think they're getting millions of emails, but they're probably getting a fair few, and to respond to every single one of them is really nice. So my other question was, the Saviour of KeyForge graphical overlay. We're all going to get one of those as a pledge goal. I suggested that it might be a good idea if the people who are getting personalised decks have the option to have their personalised decks have the Saviour of KeyForge graphical overlay on those decks. Because again, we did back it, it's got our name on it, we did help save KeyForge. So yeah, it would be really nice if those decks referenced it as well. And they said they'd think about it. So if that's something you'd like to see, I don't say bombard them with emails. We don't need to do that. But maybe mention it on Facebook or Twitter or something like that. Maybe we could have a poll on Facebook or Twitter. So yeah, if you like that suggestion, maybe make it known in social media. But yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for joining me again. I'm glad to be back. I'm going to be doing, like I say, deck openings when we get them. There will be gameplay videos as ever. There will be real life gameplay videos too when we get the decks in our hands. And as ever, the Captain's Commpod opinion piece, which is going to start with talking about the token creatures. Some of the houses have already got all 4 of their token creatures spoiled, because there's going to be 4 per house. So I'm going to start talking about those next. So the next Captain's Commpod will be talking about all the token creatures from one given house. And you can expect that in either 1 or 2 weeks' time. So thank you for joining me, and as ever, may the forge be with you.